G'day, Jason the Middle-Aged Gear Junkie here. Verly from PastFx has sent me out another one of their recreations. This is the Stereo Chorus PX65, which of course is based on the DoD FX65 Stereo Chorus. Now this is the chorus that was rumoured to be used on the album Blood Sugar Sex Magic by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, one of my favourite albums. And I will use this to do some John Frusciante examples from that album later on in the video if you want to see that. But firstly, let's go through and hear what this pedal actually sounds like. I'm playing my deluxe Stratocaster through my Marshall DSL-40 on the clean channel. So here's my clean sound. And here's the Stereo Chorus PX65 with all knobs at noon. So we got a bit of a volume jump there when I turned that on. Now, part of the reason for that is the level knob here didn't exist on the original pedal. The original pedal was actually criticised for having a bit of a volume drop when you turned it on. So what PastFx have done is they've set it up so that the volume level of this pedal is exactly the same as the original when you have it all the way down. So I've got a bit of a volume drop when I turn it on. And then when you get up to around 9 o'clock or so, it's at about unity gain. The other control that the original didn't have was this blend control. So if you want it to sound identical to the original, you've got to turn the blend all the way up. It's a beautiful, lush sounding chorus. Now the three knobs across the top are the three knobs that the original had, which was speed, delay time and depth. Now the speed controls the speed of the vibrato. So with the speed all the way down, it almost gives like a slow flanging sort of sound. And with it all the way up, you get the Leslie type sound. One of the interesting things about this speed control is that they've designed it to go both faster and slower than the original, so you have more range to play with. The delay time knob is really interesting, and I'll explain it more in depth at the end, but basically it can give you a really, really tight, almost metallic sounding chorus, which sounds almost like a flanger, and then when we wind it all the way to the right, it's going to sound more sort of pronounced. Especially with the slow speed, it now sounds very much like a flanger. And with it all the way up, and that to me sounds like a really classic 80s chorus pedal. Excellent. The depth knob controls the depth of the vibrato. So all the way down, the vibrato wave is quite shallow. And as you can hear, when it moves up and down that vibrato, it's not completely smooth. It's got a bit of a wonkiness to it. I think that's kind of interesting because if all chorus pedals use a normal sine waveform or something like that, they'd be all pretty much the same. But this one is definitely a bit different. It's a really rich sounding chorus. It doesn't sound like any of my Boss choruses. It's definitely got its own thing happening. Now, a couple of other aspects of this pedal that the original didn't have is a vibrato switch here. So I can kill the dry signal. Now, when it comes to vibrato, I'm not a huge fan unless it's fast. And I love it just for comping chords. Let's just see what the delay time does to the vibrato. The Andy and Dave switch on here is a very interesting idea, but it's a little bit hard to explain, but I'll do my best. Well, firstly, Dave is Dave Simpson, a YouTube guitar player who loves the FX65, and he usually uses it in a conventional way. And then you've got Andy Martin from Pro Guitar Shop, who we've all seen many of his demos, and he uses the FX65 in a slightly abstract way with the outputs, which I'll explain. So we have two outputs. The original also, it's a stereo chorus, it has two outputs as well. If we took an old Boss chorus pedal, for example, they would use the left output for your modulated signal, and then the right output would carry your clean signal. They would blend the two together and that would create chorus. For the FX65, however, they use the left output would have both your modulated and clean signals together, creating chorus. And then your right output would have the same, except they would flip the phase. So you had a combination of an in phase and an out of phase chorus signal blended together, and it gave it a really unique dimensional sort of sound. Now, Andy Martin likes to use the FX65 using that out of phase output instead of the in phase one. So when he's running it in mono, he would use the right jack instead of the left one, which is the conventional one that most people would use. The reason for this is that sometimes it creates, when he's playing some chords, some notes will actually kind of phase out and disappear, creating almost a univibe type effect. What that Dave and Andy switch allows you to do is to get that out of phase sound without having to unplug it and plug it into the right output. So you can just leave it plugged into the left output as you would normally have it, and then just flick that switch into Andy mode, and then you have the out of phase chorus sound. It is very hard to describe. There is a really excellent video that Andy did on how to get some interesting sounds using the out of phase chorus sound, and I will leave a link to that in the description below. So I'm going to do a few John Frusciante examples now from Blood Sugar Sex Magik. I've just got set up a tone that I think sounds reminiscent of Blood Sugar Sex Magik, and I've just left it the same for all of these examples. The first couple here are clean, just running through the clean channel of my Marshall DSL-40. For these next couple of examples, I'm running straight into the front of the classic gain channel of the Marshall DSL-40. The reason I'm doing that is because John used classic old Marshall plexis that didn't have effects loops, so he probably would have run his pedal right in the front of the amplifier like this. So once again, PastFx have taken a classic old circuit and given it some tweaks to make it more usable for the modern player, which is the reason why I'm so happy to do videos for them, because I think their pedals are really, really great. I love some of the ideas that they've come up with their pedals, and this is no exception to that. All of their pedals are really well built and made from high quality components. First of all, I think it's really cool that they give you some settings to make it sound identical to the original. So because the original had a bit of a volume drop, if you put the level all the way to 0, that gives you the level of the original. The pots, all of them are more accentuated than on the original. So this will go slower and faster. The depth will go lower and more accentuated than the original, and same with the delay time. So I think if you set this pedal anywhere between 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock, you are in the range of the original pedal. Another really cool little tweak that this pedal has that I didn't demonstrate is on the inside. There's an internal dip switch that says FX65 or FX62. Now the 62 was the bass guitar version of the FX65. So by flicking into that, you will get a slightly different voiced chorus, which again, just makes this pedal more flexible. The vibrato switch there is a welcome addition, and I think that the blend control on effects like this is now really becoming standard. So I think that being able to blend in the perfect ratio of how much of the effect that you want, I think that's a bit of a no-brainer these days. The delay time knob, I think, is really interesting because it's not something that's usually found on a chorus pedal. In the 80s, you had the DoD FX65, and I think Ibanez had a 10 series chorus that also had delay time as one of its controls, but it's not something you tend to see on choruses. This is something you will see on a flanger. It's sometimes called manual, like on the BF2 flanger. Basically, what it does is all chorus pedals delay your signal slightly and then modulate that delay to make the pitch go up and down, and that's how we get our vibrato. Now, in most chorus pedals, you can't control the speed of that delay time, but on these ones you can. By turning it right down, you get a more metallic, more flanger-like sort of effect. By turning it up, it then becomes a little bit more loose. The vibrato becomes a little bit more pronounced. So it just gives you that bit more extra flexibility over your chorus sound. So a massive thanks to Verly from PastFx for sending this out. It was a lot of fun to play, and I think it's going to stay on my board for a while now. If you want any more information about this pedal or you would like to purchase one, I've left a link in the description below to the PastFx website. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. You can support this channel by buying some merchandise from the Middle Age Gear Junkie store. The link is in the description below. There's also a link to the Middle Age Gear Junkie Facebook page if you would like to join that too. Other than that, my name is Jason. I hope you have a terrific day. See you later.